once known a profound happiness, a joy that radiated from her very core. She had poured her entire being into her relationship with Ethan, believing their love to be an unshakable fortress.
Every shared glance, every whispered promise, solidified her conviction in their beautiful future. Her heart, vibrant and trusting, had been completely his.
Then came the subtle shifts, the unexplained late nights, and the distant expressions. A gnawing unease began to settle deep within her, a cold tendril of doubt she desperately tried to ignore.
She convinced herself it was stress, work pressures, anything but the truth that slowly began to reveal itself. The once bright world around her started to dim, casting long shadows.
One evening, a casual glance at his phone, left carelessly unattended, shattered her reality. Messages, intimate and undeniable, scrolled across the screen, revealing a clandestine affair.
Her breath caught in her throat, a searing pain erupting behind her eyes. The world spun violently, her carefully constructed happiness collapsing into dust.
A cold numbness enveloped her, protective shell against the escalating agony. She felt her very soul tear, ripped apart by the brutal force of betrayal.
The man she loved, the future she envisioned, dissolved into a cruel mockery. Tears, hot and uncontrollable, streamed down her face, marking the end of her innocent belief.
The subsequent confrontation was a blur of hollow words and desperate denials. His explanations felt like flimsy excuses, further twisting the knife already plunged deep into her heart.
She watched as her love, once a beacon, crumbled into ashes before her very eyes. A profound emptiness now resided where vibrant affection had once flourished.
She retreated into herself, the once lively apartment now feeling like a tomb. The silence echoed with unspoken accusations and the phantom sounds of a life that no longer existed.
Each memory once cherished now felt like a shard of glass piercing her fragile peace. The weight of her grief pressed down, a suffocating blanket of despair.
Even her physical form seemed to betray her, growing frail and listless. Food held no appeal. Sleep offered no solace. Only restless nights plagued by vivid, painful dreams.
Her reflection showed a stranger, hollow-eyed and gaunt, a stark testament to her internal devastation. The vibrant woman she once was had vanished, replaced by a ghost of herself.
Her family, observing from a helpless distance, offered quiet comfort and worried glances. Her mother, Margaret, often sat beside her, her hand gently stroking Elara's hair, her own eyes filled with unshed tears.
Her father, Arthur, paced the living room, his brow furrowed with a protective, silent rage. Even her younger sister, Lily, usually boisterous, moved with uncharacteristic quietness, sensing the immense sorrow that permeated their home.
Elara's pain, however, remained a solitary burden, too deep for words. She felt an isolation that transcended physical presence, a profound loneliness in the face of such a personal catastrophe.
The world outside continued its relentless pace, indifferent to the gaping wound left in her soul. She longed for an escape, for a moment of peace that seemed perpetually out of reach.
As the initial shock began to recede, a fragile hope for healing cautiously emerged. Elara sought solace in the familiar faces of her closest friends, Chloe, Liam, and Sarah.
They had always been her confidants, her unwavering support system through life's various twists and turns. She clung to their presence, believing they would help her navigate the treacherous path of recovery.
She shared her raw pain, her humiliation, and her desperate confusion with them. They listened with what seemed like genuine empathy, offering words of comfort and validation.
Their assurances of unwavering loyalty provided a small, much-needed balm to her wounded spirit. Ilara allowed herself to believe she was safe within their circle, protected from further harm.
Yet, beneath their comforting smiles, a sinister plot was already brewing. Fueled by a twisted sense of jealousy or a desire for notoriety, her supposed friends began to meticulously plan her ultimate downfall.
They saw her vulnerability not as a reason for compassion, but as an opportunity for cruel exploitation. The very people she trusted most were preparing a devastating new betrayal.
One harrowing afternoon, Ilara's world shattered anew, this time into a million public fragments. A video, crudely edited and maliciously circulated, appeared online, featuring her most private moments of grief and despair.
It depicted her in her deepest agony, tear-streaked and vulnerable, framed as a pathetic, scorned woman. The footage had been secretly recorded by her friends, then meticulously crafted to maximize her humiliation.
The internet, a ravenous beast, quickly devoured the spectacle. Comments, vicious and relentless, flooded every platform, tearing apart her character and mocking her pain.
Strangers, hidden behind screens, reveled in her public degradation, transforming her private tragedy into a grotesque form of entertainment. Her name became synonymous with scandal, a punchline for heartless jokes.
A wave of nausea washed over her as she scrolled through the venomous comments, each word a fresh stab. Her face, distorted by suffering, became a viral sensation, an emblem of ridicule.
The shame was suffocating, burning her skin, stealing her breath. She felt utterly exposed, her deepest vulnerabilities laid bare for the world's cruel amusement.
The betrayal by Ethan had been a personal wound, but this was a public execution of her very being. The trust she had placed in Chloe, Liam, and Sarah had been not just broken, but weaponized against her with devastating precision.
Her last vestiges of dignity, already fragile, were mercilessly stripped away. She felt a profound sense of defilement, a stain that could never be washed clean.
She barricaded herself in her room, the curtains drawn against the judging world outside. The thought of stepping out, of facing the knowing glances and whispered taunts, was unbearable.
Every notification on her phone, every distant laugh, filled her with a fresh wave of panic and despair. The walls of her sanctuary felt like the confines of a prison, trapping her with her humiliation.
Her parents watched her descent with growing alarm, their own hearts breaking for their shattered daughter. They tried to console her, to assure her of her worth, but their words felt distant, unable to penetrate the thick fog of her anguish.
The once vibrant Ilara was now a ghost, haunting the quiet corners of their home, a constant reminder of the world's cruelty. The weight of the public shame was almost unbearable, a constant, crushing pressure on her chest.
She yearned for invisibility, for a way to simply cease to exist. The world had become a hostile, unforgiving place, and she, its unwilling victim, saw no path to redemption or peace.
Her spirit, once resilient, now felt utterly broken,
Amidst Alara's profound suffering, a new, insidious tension began to permeate the family home. Her younger sister, Lily, usually a vibrant and spirited presence, grew increasingly withdrawn and secretive.
Lily's once open demeanor had been replaced by a veiled guardedness, her eyes often darting away when questions were asked. A palpable unease settled over their already strained household.
Lily, at just 16, had started spending an alarming amount of time away from home. She spoke vaguely of new friends, of exciting opportunities, but her explanations lacked conviction, raising red flags.
Her parents, preoccupied with Alara's fragile state, initially dismissed some of these changes as typical teenage rebellion. They failed to perceive the true depth of the danger lurking.
Unbeknownst to her family, Lily had fallen under the sway of an older man, a figure who exuded a manipulative charm. He had slowly but surely isolated her from her friends and family, filling her head with grand promises and a false sense of belonging.
His influence was a silent poison, steadily eroding Lily's judgment and perception of reality. Her youthful naivety made her an easy target for his insidious agenda.
The family's collective grief over Alara's plight had created a vacuum, a distraction that allowed Lily's situation to escalate unnoticed. Margaret and Arthur, consumed by the desperate need to protect one daughter, inadvertently left the other vulnerable.
The cracks in their family foundation, widened by betrayal and sorrow, now threatened to split entirely. They were blind to the quiet storm brewing within their own walls.
One morning, the house awoke to an unsettling silence, deeper than usual. Lily's bed was empty, perfectly made, a note carelessly placed on her pillow.
The words were brief, almost flippant, announcing her departure with the older man, promising a new life and an escape from their boring existence. The note offered no explanation, no farewell, only a chilling finality.
A collective gasp of horror filled the kitchen as Margaret read the note aloud, her voice trembling. Arthur's face drained of all color, his strong hands clenching into fists of impotent rage.
Alara, roused by the sudden commotion, emerged from her room, her own pain momentarily eclipsed by this new, terrifying reality. The family was plunged into an abyss of disbelief and fear.
The immediate shock quickly gave way to a frantic, desperate energy. They called Lily's friends, her school, anyone who might have seen her, but all avenues led to dead ends.
Each unanswered call, each blank response, tightened the knot of dread in their stomachs. The police were notified, their bureaucratic questions feeling cold and inadequate against the searing pain of parental despair.
Alara felt a fresh wave of betrayal wash over her, though this time it was different. Lily's departure felt like a repudiation of their shared suffering, a desperate attempt to escape the shadow that had fallen over their home.
It was a betrayal of family, of the unspoken bond that should have held them together in their darkest hour. The weight of this new grief threatened to crush her completely.
The empty chair at the dinner table became a stark, constant reminder of Lily's absence, a gaping void in their family circle. Every meal was eaten in strange silence, punctuated only by Margaret's stifled sobs or Arthur's heavy sighs.
The house, once a sanctuary, now felt like a mausoleum, echoing with the ghost of a lost child. Hope began to dwindle with each passing, fruitless day.
The days blurred into a relentless cycle of anxiety and fruitless searching. Arthur, usually a man of calm composure, became a relentless, driven figure, pursuing every lead, no matter how faint.
He plastered flyers with Lily's smiling face across the city, questioning strangers with a desperate intensity that bordered on obsession. His exhaustion was visible, etched into the deep lines around his eyes.
Margaret, meanwhile, retreated into a quiet, profound grief, her spirit seemingly broken by the double blow. She spent hours staring out the window, her mind lost in a labyrinth of terrible possibilities.
Her once bright demeanor had faded, replaced by a hollow-eyed despair that mirrored Ilara's own. The vibrant matriarch of their family was slowly withering away.
Ilara, despite her own deep wounds, found herself caught in a new kind of purgatory. Her personal humiliation, though still raw, now competed with the overwhelming family crisis.
She would join her father on his searches, her own heart heavy with a complex mix of anger, fear, and a desperate longing for her sister's safe return. The weight of her own sorrow now mingled with a crushing sense of familial responsibility.
The police investigation yielded little progress, their updates offering only platitudes and vague assurances. Each official report, devoid of any real breakthrough, felt like another nail in the coffin of their hope.
They were advised to prepare for the worst, a phrase that hung in the air like a suffocating shroud. The legal system, designed to protect, felt agonizingly slow and ineffective.
The family's once strong bonds began to fray under the relentless pressure of their shared tragedy. Words grew scarce, replaced by unspoken accusations and simmering resentments.
They moved through their days like specters, haunted by the specter of Lily and the pervasive knowledge of their helplessness. The once cohesive unit was fracturing under the weight of unrelenting sorrow.
Ilara often found herself replaying conversations with Lily, searching for clues, for any sign she might have missed. She chastised herself for her own self-absorption, for being too consumed by her own pain to notice Lily's silent cries for help.
Guilt, a sharp and unforgiving emotion, gnawed at her, adding another layer to her already immense suffering. The thought of failing her sister was unbearable.
The financial strain also began to mount, adding another layer of stress to their already fragile existence. Arthur's work suffered, his mind too preoccupied to focus on his responsibilities.
Margaret's small part-time job became a forgotten detail amidst the endless search. The future, once secure, now seemed precarious and uncertain, shadowed by debt and despair.
Their home, once filled with laughter and the comforting sounds of family life, was now permeated by a chilling silence. Every creak of the floorboards, every gust of wind, seemed to whisper Lily's name, a constant echo of her absence.
The air itself felt thick with unspoken grief, a suffocating atmosphere that clung to everything. Joy had become an alien concept within those walls.
Friends and neighbors offered condolences and assistance, but their words often felt hollow, unable to bridge the chasm of the family's pain. Their well-meaning intentions could not alleviate the gnawing fear or the crushing sense of helplessness.
The world outside continued its indifferent turning, while their own universe had imploded. The family felt utterly alone in their desolate struggle.
Weeks bled into months, each passing day deepening the family's despair. The hope for Lily's safe return, once a flickering ember, slowly extinguished, replaced by a cold, hard resignation.
The official search efforts dwindled, and the police eventually closed their active investigation, leaving the family with an agonizing lack of closure. Lily had simply vanished, swallowed by the vast, indifferent world.
The older man, Lily's companion in her flight, was never apprehended, his identity remaining a shadowy, elusive figure. He had expertly covered his tracks, leaving no discernible trail for the authorities to follow.
His anonymous cruelty became another source of torment for the family, a faceless enemy who had stolen their child and vanished without a trace. The injustice of it all was unbearable.
Elara watched her parents wither, their spirits crushed under the weight of their double tragedy. Margaret moved through the house like a ghost, her eyes vacant, her once vibrant personality completely extinguished.
Arthur, though still outwardly strong, carried a silent, immense grief, his shoulders bowed under an invisible burden. Their love for each other, though enduring, was now shadowed by an incomprehensible sorrow.
Her own healing, already a monumental task, became an impossible dream. The layers of betrayal, first from Ethan, then from her friends, and finally from Lily's inexplicable departure, had woven together into an unbreakable chain of suffering.
Each wound reopened the others, creating a perpetual cycle of grief and anguish. Her soul felt irrevocably scarred, beyond repair.
The memory of the shaming video, though now less immediate, still lingered like a malignant shadow, a constant reminder of her public humiliation. She still felt the phantom eyes of judgment, the whispers of ridicule, whenever she ventured outside.
The world, once a place of possibility, had become a minefield of painful associations. Her sense of self was irrevocably shattered.
The family home, once a symbol of warmth and security, transformed into a desolate monument to their collective losses. Every room held echoes of past happiness, now tinged with the bitter taste of what was lost.
The silence was thick with unspoken regrets, with the phantom presence of two absent daughters. Their sanctuary had become a prison of grief.
Elara carried the weight of her sister's unknown fate, a heavy, constant ache in her heart. She imagined Lily's struggles, her fears, her potential despair, and the guilt intensified a relentless torment.
The inability to protect her, to bring her home, was a wound that refused to close. Her own suffering now felt intertwined with Lily's elusive pain.
The theme of betrayal, a cruel thread, ran through every aspect of Elara's existence. Her lover's infidelity had shattered her heart, her friend's malice had stolen her dignity, and her sister's flight had plunged her family into an unending abyss.
Each act of treachery built upon the last, creating a towering edifice of sorrow. Her life had become a tragic testament to the destructive power of broken trust.
There was no redemption, no solace, no promise of a brighter tomorrow for Elara or her family. Their story was not one of overcoming adversity, but of succumbing to its relentless, crushing force.
The journey of pain, once started, had simply continued, deepening with each new blow. Their lives were now defined by an unceasing, profound sorrow.
The world moved on, indifferent to their plight, leaving them stranded in their personal tragedy. They lived on, but only in a shadow existence, forever haunted by what was lost and what could never be regained.
The echoes of betrayal resonated through their desolate home, a mournful symphony of unending grief. Their collective heartbreak became their inescapable, tragic destiny.